use a debit card all day, every day. When I saw this, I sort of spent a minute trying to figure out what emotion I was feeling, whether it was anger, frustration, sadness, or something similar. And I settled upon frustration because of the lack of financial education in the general populace. Anyway, I was in LA for a week and then I'm getting ready to move out, so life is busy, but that has nothing to do with the background of this comment. Now, for the background of this comment, I like to watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, of which includes financial content. So there's this channel called CNBC Make It, and they came out with a video titled, "What a 25-year-old making 102K spends in a week." And I enjoy these types of videos because I like to see how people my age or older, or sometimes even younger, spend their money and make their money, which is fascinating to me. And I often like to comment on these videos because sometimes it gets people to check out my channel, or I just have something I want to say about the video and I like to leave it there. The individual stated in the video that he does not use credit cards, he only used debit cards.
Kind of stay away from using credit cards, only because I'm not really the most on track with trying to build my credit.
Which made me kind of sad, so I commented, quote, "I only use debit," unquote, me, sad face. And then I like my comments to also sometimes be helpful, so I wrote, "Lots of banks have automatic payments you can set up for the full balance. That's what I use and 10 out of 10 recommend." The person in the video actually responded and said, "I get the idea. I have been looking into it. I haven't pulled the trigger yet." So hopefully he looks into it. But the reply that was the basis for the idea of this video, somebody said, "You are sad he isn't using debt to pay for his expenses, space question mark, use debit card all day, any day." And this is just, there are a lot of nuances to this, but I wholeheartedly disagree with this statement. Now, some people do say credit is bad, avoid credit at all expenses, and one of the more popular people that does this is Dave Ramsey, and I actually do enjoy watching some of his videos. He gives some good financial advice. I do disagree with him about the point on credit cards. His is basically, don't use credit cards at all, no matter what. Just stick to debit cards, buy everything in cash. Which, for some of the type of people calling into his show, makes a lot of sense. Now, if you don't know, a lot of the types of callers that call into his show are in a tremendous amount of debt, whether it be from gambling, student loans, using too many credit cards, or otherwise. And in that case, it might be smart to not use a credit card if you can't handle not spending all of your money or more than all of your money. But in almost all other cases, I would say credit cards and credit is generally a good thing. I guess one thing I kind of want to debunk about this comment is that credit cards inherently do not put you in debt. What puts someone in debt is overspending with money that they don't have, which is different from credit cards. Credit cards are a means to do that, but using credit automatically doesn't put you into a tremendous amount of debt. Another big thing that I think some people completely don't understand about credit cards is that, yes, credit cards have an incredibly high interest. I think usually 18, 20, or even more %. But the thing is, if you pay off your balance in full, you don't pay any interest. Let me repeat that again. If you pay off your balance in full, you don't pay any interest. And personally, I'm sometimes scared I'm going to forget. So on my credit cards, I have set up automatic payments so that the balance is paid off in full at the end of the month. So I don't carry balance over, I don't pay interest, and I don't go into debt. So if you do carry a balance from month to month on your credit card, that can be considered debt, and you will be paying interest, usually a ridiculously high interest, somewhere 20%, even more interest on that debt. That's more of a financial habit thing. It's not something inherently wrong with credit cards. So if you do have a credit card and constantly find yourself in credit card debt, you need to first work on your spending habits. Because again, if you pay off the balance in full at the end of each month, you do not pay interest. Now, I could probably do a much longer video about the differences and the benefits and disadvantages between credit cards and debit cards, but I came up with 3 major points as to why credit cards are better. Firstly, credit cards have rewards and debit cards generally don't. And what I mean by rewards, it depends on the credit card, but a lot of cards have cash back, they have travel points, they have different bonuses like that. And for example, one of my cards gives me 3% on dining. So every time I go out to eat to a restaurant, or I don't know if it's actually 3% for groceries, I should probably check on that, but every time I go out to eat, I get 3% cash back. So if I spend $100, I get $3 back just for using the credit card. And debit cards do not offer things like this. Secondly, credit cards build credit history and debit cards don't. Although I have seen this ad going around for this debit card that builds your credit history. I'm not quite sure about that. But in almost all cases, Credit cards build credit history, hence the, credit word, and debit cards don't, because debit cards kind of act like cash. Unfortunately, you need good credit to do a lot of things, whether that be rent an apartment, buy a house, get a good interest rate on a car loan, and things like that. Thirdly, credit cards have a lot more protections than debit cards, and I don't mean that the card physically itself is more protected, although I know there are like metal credit cards, which is kind of cool. I don't know if there are any metal debit cards, but that's not really what I'm talking about here. One of these protections is purchase protection. So a lot of credit cards, if you purchase something like electronics, that sounded like a list, but I couldn't think of anything after electronics. But if you purchase like a laptop, let's say, and the laptop gets stolen, sometimes the credit card company will actually reimburse you for that purchase. Whereas I cannot think of any debit cards that have similar purchase protections. Wow, I need to enunciate. Another thing about this case is that if your credit card is fraudulently used, it doesn't affect your account balance at all. Like if there's a fraudulent charge on your card, you just call up the credit card company, say, hey, this was fraudulent, can you take this off? And then they take it off. But if your debit card is fraudulently used, even if you get the charge reversed, the money already came out of your account first because, again, a debit card is kind of like cash. So once the payment is made, the cash leaves your account. And even if it was a fraudulent charge and gets returned, let's say you have like a low balance in your account. If that causes your account to overdraft, that could cause some sort of overdraft fee or just a domino of financial troubles. So even though you can get the money back, it's less detrimental, I guess, if someone uses your credit card, although ideally no one steals your credit card and debit card. Anyway, this was just sort of a rant to a response that I received on a comment because it made me a little bit sad that some people don't know the benefits of credit cards, and I just wanted to clear some things up and kind of rant to, clear my head. So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and comment on the video, and I'll see you guys soon.